Welcome into the latest edition of Extra Time. Ali, Steve, how was your holiday, Ali? Did you have a lovely time?
It was a lot of fun.
Good.
I was with the family and spent some time together. That was great. Got to see my son play. That was wonderful.
Wonderful. Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Mario, I'm going to go to you first because your internet's been a bit of a nightmare again. Any takes on the penalty arguments? We talked about this. Should Madueke have been better off given on the score sheet? Palmer was right to take it, blah, blah, blah. Mario, do you remember this happening between Lampard and Drogba in the final game against your Wigan side?
I know, no, I don't know. I can't remember anymore. But if like we already jumped on it, if something like this happened, the captain jumps in, but away from that, the coach tells you in advance what needs to be happening, and you have to stick to it. And at the end of the day, I know that everybody wants to score, but if your name is first, it's up to you if you want to allow someone else to score while you have the hat-trick already. And if you don't, you should be allowed just to score your goal.
The background for Mario is very minimalistic. The shelves are a little empty.
No, but it's Mario, isn't he? He's a minimalistic sort of guy.
It's like his internet is minimalistic.
Yeah,
as well.
very much so. If you're Gareth Southgate, we talked about this on the show. You asked me if
No,
you're Gareth Southgate.
Ali, no.
If you're Gareth Southgate, are you starting Cole Palmer at the Euros? No?
No. There's no chance he'll start Cole Palmer.
No.
But does he play?
No.
He'll be in the squad, he'll be on the bench. If they get in a situation where they're desperate or they need a goal, then he'll certainly come on.
But he's not first off the bench, is what you're saying.
No. And it's Gareth Southgate,
Well, yes.
who doesn't tend to take any chances.
Jordan Henderson ahead of
Correct.
Cole Palmer.
Hey, maybe if they go to penalties, ahead of penalties, they put him in. Maybe.
No, it takes a bit of forward planning, that.
Okay.
Stevie, sometimes managers get let go because their message becomes stale and doesn't get through to the players as it did when they first took over. As a manager, can you sense when your message is no longer getting through? And is there anything you can do to deal with this?
Yes and no.
OK.
Yeah, you can tell when you've told. It starts with a couple of players.
Yeah.
And if you can move them on and bring... I think the key is to keep freshening everything up every year.
OK.
If you do that, then it doesn't become old because you're passing it on to new players, and the players you have are passing it on as well. Even though they've stopped listening to it, they still know that it's right and they're passing it on. When you either don't sign players or you sign bad players, and eventually, regardless of what you say, A, they can't follow instruction, and B, they've just heard it so many times and you've said it so many times that you're just talking to the wall.
You know what happens as well is that as a manager, you come into a situation and there are certain players that you trust because you feel like these are guys that see the game the way that you want the game to be played, and they see your game plan and they execute it well. So you lean on those guys heavily to begin with. But those guys eventually get older. Mm-hmm. And so now you're going to have to look beyond them and look for somebody else to lean on. But those guys are still around. And those guys that were your guys to begin with now are the same guys that can hurt you. Because those are the guys that have received that message time and time and time again. And now they're older. And if they don't take the fact that they're no longer player or they're no longer the main guys in the locker room, if they don't take that well, they're the same guys that can sink you. So the guys that elevated you to begin with are also the same guys that can sink you unless you're able to handle it.
That's why recruitment's so important.
Right.
It really is.
Yeah.
Alec Ferguson could be in charge of a lot of teams and not get anything because of the players they have.
Mario?
Yeah, no, I totally agree with the guys. You understand? It's very important because also what you want to be careful of is that when the team start building a group and it goes against the manager, then you know you lost everything because now they start, saying like, oh, then you got him again. Oh, you don't want that. That's one of the key things. And the other part, what Stevie said, you gotta refresh at the right time and the right players that you always make sure that you stay in control. If you lose control, it's almost like a household. If you lose control of your household, you're not in charge anymore.
Everybody forgets, right? The Chelsea situation is a perfect example. They've had 3 managers in the space of a year, probably, right? It took Fergie 4 years to get rid of the ones he didn't want and bring in the ones he wanted, and then obviously the young guys. Well. Aye, the young guys, and Klopp's the same. So all these people shouting for Pochettino's head because Chelsea's sitting in 8th position. Need to just calm down. They need to calm down. He needs some time to get a few out and bring in a few that are going to not only help them win games, but have an influence on all of the rest of the team.
And every once in a while, as a manager, you have to be willing and you have to be able to cut the head of one of your big guys. That sends a message. Because if it can happen to that guy, it can happen to anybody. And that maintains you as the decision maker, as the alpha dog in that locker room. Yeah. I'm still making decisions. And so, unless you go along with what I'm saying, this can happen to you.
That's Fergie, isn't it? Keane, Stam.
What's going on with Fergie all the time?
You're not hurrying again, the
Ali, what's more likely? Manchester City to win the treble or Bayer Leverkusen to win the treble?
Bayer Leverkusen to win the treble. Absolutely Bayer Leverkusen to win the treble. Look, they're playing lower tier opposition in the Pokal final. And in terms of Europa League, now that Liverpool has struggled against Atalanta, it really opens up a path for Leverkusen to win the treble. And they've already won one, which Manchester City are yet to do that.
Stevie, do Liverpool go all out on Thursday or play the youngsters?
No, they go all out.
Really?
Yeah.
Even though it could be a detriment then to their Premier League campaign?
They're not in a position to pick and choose when they think they're going to win or when they're going to lose. You've got 6 games left. You may have what, 3 or 4 more in Europa. We need to win every game. This is the time of year where you have to go and win games.
But they look so tired, didn't they, against Palace?
Well, sometimes it's unlucky.
Oh, right, okay.
Get yourself out there.
Is it unlucky?
Let me see. Unlucky's the wrong word. It's get yourself out there, right? Let's forget all the tactics, forget all the nonsense, forget all the set piece, forget all that, right?
Right.
The only thing I want to see is what's going on in there.
He's pointing to his heart if you're listening to the podcast.
What is going in your heart?
That's the only thing I want to see. I want to know what's going on in there, and I want to know what's going on in there, and I'm pointing to my head as well.
Okay.
I just thought I'd help you out.
There you are, I like this. Closed captioning. Start, bench or drop, Mario. Lampard, Xavi, Seedorf.
Oof. Start, bench or drop. That's difficult, huh? Oh my God, I need goals. So, oh my God, do I start Lampard then? He can score my goals for me. Oh no, this is a bad question. This is so bad.
That's a toughie, isn't it?
Oh,
It's a good one.
Xavi, it's so good. This one is, oh guys, thank you very much for killing me like this. I'll probably play Xavi and Lampard. Then I will play Lampard and Xavi will be the one that will be on the bench, and then Seedorf. We don't need him because there's a reason why. He will come back for the next game, because then we will tell Lampard, this one is better for you to start, but the next game you have to sit out.
How good was Seedorf, Mario?
Obviously not good enough.
Oh, yeah.
He was really good. You know? No. He was very good. I mean, the funny part is actually he texted me yesterday, so that's kind of the funny part. You understand? Because he's like doing some game is coming up. Well, anyway, he was really good. Why? I thought he was very good. You know, sometimes you have players that are very good with a back to the goal. And I had a moment with him when I played for Holland, and he played in front of me, and the man would be really tight to him, and I would look somewhere else to play the ball. And then after like maybe 20, 30 minutes, he screams at me, he goes, Mario, stop doing that. I go, what do you mean? He said, even if he's behind me, give me the ball. And I go like, okay. I give him the ball. he turns away from the man without any problems. And he said to me, you can attack when you give me the ball. And I normally, when you play a player in, you want to stay behind him to give him an option to play the ball back. But he said, you don't need to worry about that. Just keep on, attack, and then I will make my turn and put you in. And I said, okay. And he showed it, he proved it to me, and he kept on doing it. And we played for the national team. So, you know, then you play on the highest level.
What a player to have alongside you, eh?
I was the same with Barnsley.
Really?
When I played behind Barnsley, Johnny Barnes, same thing. I could just give him it and go.
Right.
I didn't need to go, well, I better wait and see what happens.
You knew what was going to happen.
Well, I knew it was going to happen. He wasn't losing it, number one, so I could just go. It's great.
Final question. Mario, which game was more emotional for you? Your first professional game or your last?
My first. Because I think that's where you're so nervous. You like 50,000 people and they all cheer for you. It's the first time that you stand in a stadium where you are not capable to talk to anybody. So I think that was probably for me the most emotional because you worked so hard to achieve it. The last one, I mean, it's emotional, but no, I think my first one because finally I got there.
Mario, did you know your last was going to be your last?
In a way, yes, because I already had my journey and I had my plan that I wanted to move over to America. So I was already planning ahead in my mind and I knew that this was going to be my final season, so yes.
Emotional, first one as well?
For me, yeah, the first one, because your question is a very valid one. I didn't know that my last game was going to be my last game.
Right.
I had a pretty good idea that it was going to be my last game with the current team that I was in.
Which team were you at? The Philadelphia Union?
No, Chivas USA.
Ah, that was the really bad time.
Yes.
I can't bring up.
Those are the years that we don't talk about. Then.
Right, yeah. Okay. So you're playing for that really bad team.
Yes. Yes. And
It doesn't exist anymore.
Correct. And so I had a pretty good idea that it was my last game with that club. And in between contract negotiations to go to whatever the next club was going to be, ESPN came about and put forth an offer that allowed me then the opportunity to be here with you. And how could I deny myself?
Well, most definitely.
The chance to be here.
And quite long holidays as well.
Yeah.
Stevie?
What?
I can honestly say neither.
Your first professional game wasn't emotional?
No.
Stevie, you're so Stevie.
Honestly.
Did you know it was your first game?
I was too cold.
Really?
Honestly.
What about your first game?
I came on as a sub against Arbroath, and I've told you before. Arbroath's pitch is, the stand on the far side is 10 yards from the North Sea. Mm-hmm. And it was the middle of winter, and I was on the bench. And I'm talking 1980, maybe 81.
Yeah.
And we didn't have insulated big jackets or any of that gear.
No.
Or tracky bottom.
No, you're
We were
odd.
just sat there. We were just sat there for about an hour and 70 minutes. And he went, right, you're going on. I was like that. Oh, no. I couldn't feel my feet.
But what about your first game for Liverpool? Was that emotional?
Not particularly, no.
Yeah.
No, just cold
nervous.
heart. That's what it's pointing. That's it.
No, you're a little
Stevie,
bit
you were not
nervous.
nervous when you came on?
I was a little nervous. I started at Birmingham it was my first game, but it was hardly a. What's the best way of putting this? It wasn't Man United at Old Trafford around. It was Birmingham away. The pitch was wrong. They're a horrible team. There's a half decent crowd, and
Oh, debut for Liverpool. Oh, well, that's done. Next.
No, I mean, obviously I was a little nervous. But emotional, no.
Okay, well, what do you have in that heart that you were talking about earlier?
For certain things.
Cholesterol.
Yes, a lot of it.
There is
A lot of shepherd's pie.
Yeah, they told me to get me.
That is it. We are done.
You know, you're interested.
What's that? What are you
He's not
saying?
even interested in my.
They told him to get his cholesterol down.
I was going to talk about my medical situation, but you're not.
Oh, what a massive surprise. Just a reminder, ESPN FC is back with you tomorrow. We'll be reflecting
in
on
for a
those
pizza.
Champions League matches. Well, Stevie has another butter sandwich.
Yes. A large sandwich.